Good morning. Welcome back to my garden. You're going to fill up the Greenstalk. I got this one on their clearance sale. So it was the 3-tier and I only paid like $40, which is amazing because normally they're a lot more than $40. But we're going to get these filled up with soil because it is supposed to rain again all day tomorrow. And I would love for them to get the benefit of the rain in the soil even if I don't plant anything yet. But I've been going back and forth on what I want to plant in here. And I'm thinking for sure I want at least 1 tier of kohlrabi since the rats keep eating mine. And other than that, I'm not sure. So you'll see what we plant when we plant it. But for now, let's just get to filling it. All right, we have my compost that I had sifted out and put perlite in with the intention of using it as a potting mix, which is what this needs. And then we have the tier. When you're filling up a Greenstalk, you need to use potting mix. Each tier comes with a little gray disc that you set on top of it, and then you stack the next one. And that's how they water each other. And then the water will also trickle down through the tiers and through the holes in the bottom of them. And that's how they water. So something well draining is important, but I didn't buy a potting mix. I just put some perlite in my compost, and we're going to hope that's good enough. And if it's not, then we know for next time, buy the actual potting mix. There's a couple of pockets of just straight up perlite in here. I said I mixed it. I didn't say I mixed it well. That's all right. This actually says right here, fill to the top. So if you're starting seeds, you fill it all the way to the top. And I am going to be starting seeds, so I'm going to fill it as close to the top as I possibly can. I don't know if this is going to be enough. I have 1 bag of potting soil behind me that I can mix in here for the other 2 tiers. I think I'll do that. But for now, get this one filled, and then I'll just line them up next to the bed here and let them get rained on while I decide what I want to put in here. Another thought that I had was possibly starting some seeds inside to transplant out into here, because I don't have anywhere to set this up currently. I need to pull out the melons first. So my plan was to put this where the melons are currently, and that is going to be pulled out this week as soon as they're dry, because they're just not, they're just terrible. They look awful, and I'm ready to have them gone, production or not. Oh, there's a little leaf bug. How cute. Get out of the dirt, leaf bug. Alright, so that one is full all the way to the top. Push it all the way to the edges. And then I think I'm definitely going to dump that other bag of soil into there to fill up the other 2 tiers. I have Vigoro brand potting mix, and it's not the best quality you could ever buy, but it is the best quality that I prefer to buy, because it's not $30 a bag like some of the nicer brands, but it does really well. Last year I did a test in 3 different 15-gallon grow bags, and I planted radishes and carrots, and one of them was Vigoro, and one of them was the Miracle Grow potting mix. And I've heard good things about the Miracle Grow moisture control, but this was the new organic one that they were telling me was better, and it wasn't. And then the third one that I tested was Kellogg, because that's what I filled all my garden beds with, and everybody always said that it was terrible. The bag that did the best was the Vigoro, this brand, and the one that did the worst, look, a worm. We'll put him in the garden bed. We don't want him in a Greenstalk necessarily. The one that did the worst was the Miracle Grow, and I was not surprised at all. But I'm glad I did the test because I had been using Kellogg and not thinking anything of it. Mostly because people told me not to, and when someone tells me not to, I want to do it more. But the Vigoro ended up being really good, and it's, I don't know, $6 or $7 a bag. So, not a terrible price, and does a good job. So, that's the one I buy. Not saying that any of the more expensive brands are bad, just saying they're too rich for my blood. I am perfectly happy with what I've got. This Greenstalk is the standard depth. I think that's like 7 inches or something. And it's a discontinued color, I'm pretty sure, because it was on clearance. And it's the basket weave. I didn't care what color I got, I just wanted another Greenstalk, so I got the cheapest one on the clearance. And I'm very happy with it. My ultimate goal is going to be to take my 5-tier, take one of the tiers off of that one and put it on top of this, so then I'll have 2 4-tiers. But I'm not going to do that now. The other one is my salad bar, and it's beautiful right now, so I don't need to mess with it. But the 5-tier is a little tall, and I figured adding a 3-tier, making a couple of 4 tiers would be the perfect height. Anyway, I'm going to stop jabbering and put you in speed up mode so I can get this done. Alright, so we finished up. I probably could have done without that bag of soil because honestly there's a lot left in here. But I'm not sad about that. It'll be nice to do something else. And then I'm anticipating some settling in these because it's going to rain on them tonight and tomorrow. So I can top them up again before we plant. But that's where I'm going to leave you for now, and I'll bring you back when I decide what we're planting. Welcome back. It is the next day, and I decided to do 2 seed trays just in case anything that I seed directly in the Greenstalk over there doesn't want to germinate or doesn't do very well. I'll have something to put in it. So I brought out my root veggies. The one thing I really want from this is the kohlrabi that's right here on top. I pulled out my lettuces because I would like to see if I have a crispy one like a romaine. I like the crispier type of lettuces, and the ones that I have growing in the other Greenstalk I think right now are more leafy stuff, more like tender. Not my favorite. And then I brought out my cooler weather flowers just to see if there's anything in here that looked fun, and I might go sprinkle some out in the garden while it's wet. We just finished up, what was that, 5 days in a row of rain. And on the forecast for next week, starting Sunday, there's another 4 days in a row of rain coming. So very, very unusual for here, but I'm not complaining. I also brought out my bag. These ones don't fit in a container. This is all my pea seeds. And I'm going to plant a few that are a shorter variety. This one right here says 1 to 2 foot. So it's more of a compact bush one. Just in case my snap peas, sugar bomb, just in case my snap peas that are in the beds don't do well for whatever reason. I don't have any reason to think they won't, but I like peas a lot, so we're going to get started with that. There's a bunch of seeds in there. I'm going to plant by the row, and then I'll come back out later with some labels. Last time I had written on this tape, and it all faded in the sun. So this time I'm going to actually make labels. Since I have the peas, we're going to start with some peas. I'm going to do 2 rows of peas, and typical rule of thumb when you're planting is you want to go about twice as deep as the size of the seed, and pea seeds are pretty big, so I'm just going to stick my finger down in the hole. And these are just filled with that same compost mix that I had filled the Greenstalk up with. And then I'm going to just drop 1 pea in each one. I don't have any reason to think they won't germinate well. There's 8 peas, and cover them up and just keep them outside. They don't need to germinate in the house or anything. They should germinate just fine with the warmer days coming up in the next few days. I think our highs this week are supposed to be mid to upper 70s. Right now it's about 65, and I was a little bit cold, so I put my flannel on. So that was peas. The next one I really want to make sure I do is kohlrabi, because those dang rats keep eating it. So I will probably put this in my middle tier of the Greenstalk. And then I will also put more in the garden. So I'm going to do, I think, 3 rows of this just to be safe. So I'm going to do it on this tray. These seeds are not very big. And all brassica seeds look about the same, little brown circle. They're not tiny, but they're not as definitely not as big as the peas. I'll take out any big chunks that I think might disrupt germination. And I'll just make a little dent in the top of the soil, not super deep. If you plant them too deep, then they'll have to work too hard and they won't be able to germinate. Get away from me, mosquito. I'm going to put 3 seeds in each hole, if I can keep it to that. 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I might have 4 off. That's okay, I don't make anything enough. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. 1, 2. Goes back. Part of me just wants to go throw this handful over there in the soil and see what happens, but trying to be a little less chaotic. Not that there's anything wrong with chaos gardening. Chaos gardening is very fun. Where we pulled out the green beans, I want to plant some radishes. But first I'm going to amend the whole area with bone meal, because that's good for root development. And then top it off with just a little bit of compost. So I don't know if I'll do that as a video or if I'll just do it one day, because it's not a big project. Okay, the other one I wanted to do was lettuce, so let's check out my lettuces. This is the variety that I have planted there now. It was a free seed pack. I probably have 3 or 4 of these from Botanical Interest. They send you a free seed packet when you spend, I think, $10. I got this with my Greenstalk, so it's made for the Greenstalk. Let's grow it in the Greenstalk. So this tray will be the 3 rows of kohlrabi, and then we'll do 1 row of spinach. And these are decently sized seed. I'll put 2 per hole. Make it a little bit deeper. That in there. This one doesn't have a picture on it, but it says lettuce, and it's Teton pelleted. I think I want to go back and look up what that one is before I use that. So this is a Paris Island romaine, and this is a freckled romaine. And this is a loose leaf. I don't want to do a loose leaf. Tom thumb, more spinach, more soft lettuce, and then Chinese cabbage. I don't want to do that either. So I think I'll do these 3 varieties of romaine. And I'm not going to label them specifically. I'll know by the look what they are. One of them is very red. One of them is very freckled. And one of them is just green. So I'll know what they are when they come up. I'll cover with those spinach. And with lettuce, I feel like I can do 2 or 3 per pocket, so I'll sow these pretty heavily. I'm actually just going to push the soil to one side and sprinkle seeds on top of these ones. And then I'll push it to the other side and sprinkle seeds on the other ones and cover. Yeah. Approximate seed count is 1,000. I could grow lettuce forever. Sprinkle those seeds all over it. Oops, I dropped one on that side. You don't need lettuce kohlrabi. And then just put a little bit of soil back over it, take out any big chunks. Give it some good contact. And we'll push these guys aside. We'll do the freckles and the red. Put a few of those seeds in my hand, and I'll put a few of these seeds in my hand. I'll let them be a mix, and then just sprinkle. And I can always thin these and put them in other places too, like between onions in the onion bed or wherever else. There might be a little bit of space between the radishes when my radishes don't grow, because that's just how radishes do me. Yeah. Just a few seeds started in case the ones that I put out in the Greenstalk don't do well. We are back now. It's been probably a week, and we have a lot of these plants that are starting to sprout. We have way too many in one spot, but that's okay. These are the lettuce, and the peas are starting to come up. And then we have the 3 rows of kohlrabi and the 1 row of spinach starting to come up. Brand new baby right there, and a brand new baby starting to poke up right there. All right, it's been a little while, like I said, and the reason is because one of the Greenstalk Black Friday deals ended up being the spinner base. So I had to wait to get that before I could finish setting up this whole thing. So this tube goes around this spout here, and the water drains down through the holes in the top of the tray and then out through the tube. So you can direct where you want your water flow to go. And then you put your Greenstalk on top of the spinner so you can spin it around and get the most sun, like with my other one over there. So we're going to orient that towards the garden beds, not towards the walkway. And I have my level that I will put on here to make sure that it's level all the way around, or close to it. I'm not a perfectionist at this point. And then we will start stacking. Nicely. And then in that layer we will put the watering tray. It goes right over that hole. Line these up with each pocket because that's where the water comes out. And put the next piece on. You want to make sure that this part snaps on there right, so right now it's wrong. Line it up on all the circles all the way around. They should snap in. There we go. So that's all snapped in. Each one is on the right thing. And we'll put the water reservoir on the next layer. And then we'll set the last layer on there. top layer, so it doesn't have the watering disc. It gets the watering pan. And it has these little thingies. This part clips onto this part. Line it up all the way around, push it down. And if you want to, you can buy a lid that goes on these that has a little opening to stick the hose in, but I didn't buy that this time. So there she is, our 3-tier pink basket weave. I don't know the technical name of the pink, I can look it up. But basket weave is the texture. And that's our 3-tier Greenstalk setup. I actually already planted seeds in each of the pockets, but I haven't watered them in yet, so I'm going to water them in. And I can show you what I planted, but I didn't get video of the actual planting. I did some white and purple kohlrabi, some Teton lettuce, and some short and sweet carrots. And there we have it. That's our 3-tier Greenstalk, nice and stacked up. When I water in seedlings, I turn it to mist, because I don't need a heavy spray pushing everything around. I've just missed all those. Along with watering in the seeds, we will just water the entire Greenstalk. Typically when I'm watering Greenstalk, I will fill this up and basically run it until there's water coming out of the hose at the bottom. Let's let that drain in and see what happens. You can hear the water working its way down. We'll wait for it to come out there. It drains through this hole into the trays, and then it drains through these holes into the top pockets. I just think it's a really cool setup, a really cool invention. There you go, you can see just a little bit of it. It'll start to drain through the tube. And you can see on here there's some water pooling. So it looks like we've got just enough water in there for this. It's not going to drain a whole bunch, it's just going to drain a little bit of the excess. You can see it coming through right there. So that's pretty cool. And we're going to take one last look at the green Greenstalk. It's looking really good. I had planned on moving it over there next to the pink one, but everything is doing so well that I don't really want to take it apart and risk squishing anybody. So it'll stay here. I'm just going to give it a watering. Since it's the 5-tier, it takes a little more water than the 3-tier will. So I usually fill this up, let it drain, and then I fill it up one more time, just to be safe. This is actually the first time I'm watering since we got all that rain a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to have to go turn on my drip system too to water everything. And there you can see the water flowing out, and it flows next to this in-ground bed, so things get watered like this random lettuce plant that's there. But yeah, it's going down. Everybody got a drink.